Well, hello folks, welcome to summer in Scotland, and it is toasty, roasty toasty for Scotland anyway. Must be there's hardly a breath of wind in the glen, and I didn't check the thermometer in the car, but I reckon it must be 27, 28 degrees, which doesn't happen too often. I don't often get to say that. Anyway, with bearing that in mind, I've got this beast of a pool to go up, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. I tell you what, the biggest nightmare of today's trip will be, and it has just been, is that drive along the road to get here. It's only about, I've only come about 200 metres from the car park, but the road to get there was just, it's the worst. It's a single track, windy road, you can't see any distance in front of you. It's just a nightmare. Every time I come along it, I vow I'll never come back, but the hill that I'm going up today to Wild Camp is worth it. It's worth that road because it's much better doing it this way than any other way, and you'll see why when I get up there. Oh, and I'm hoping to meet an old friend up here somewhere, so let's get cracked on and see if we can get up this steep bit and try and catch my old mate. Let's go. So it really is a steep pool, and it was heads down and just crack on up this hill. Luckily there's a nice path that kind of takes a bit of the sting out as it zigzags up, but yeah, there's no other way to describe it as apart from very, very steep and very hard in these temperatures. Ah, look at that view. Obviously that's the only reason I've stopped. Oh man, it's warm. There's a wee bit of a breeze now. You might pick up on the microphone because I've not got my lav mic on. I was doing this normally, but yeah, lots of stops like this. I'm just taking my time and try to keep myself hydrated. This is some pool up here, look at that down there. You probably don't get an idea of how steep it is, but it's a fair old pool up to about 700 metres straight up. This glaciated, it's like a trough, a glaciated trough of a valley or a glen. So it's straight up, and I can't wait till I get on the ridge. Hopefully there'll be more of a breeze and it starts to level out a wee bit, although it's still uphill. But yeah, lots of chances to stop and take pictures. I'll just get my breath back, so yeah, sit here for another 5 and then going a bit further and stop. I'm hoping to get a wee stream so I can wet my buff. I've talked about that before, but that's a good way of trying to cool down. Wet my buff in my hat, and I'm not sure there'll be much water in the streams. We'll see. There's one marked in the map in about 500 metres, so we'll see if I get water there. Whew, right. I'll report back in a wee while. Alright folks, we're having another break, and somebody's been very kind and waited on me coming up the slope as my companion for tonight, my old buddy. There's Ray! Hey! There's Ray. So, the last time we were here was slightly different, wasn't it, Ray?
It was a bit stormy and wintry, and yes.
Probably the windiest night I've ever spent on the hill in a tent, so yeah, that was unbelievable. So tonight's going to be a bit different, I hope, just if we can get up there. It's still roasting, so yeah, smashing. I've got some company now, more chances to stop and shinwag, I suppose, but we're going to get cracked on a bit further up into the ridge and see if we can get a bit more of a breeze, so we'll report back later on. We eventually reached that stream that was marked on the map, and as I expected, there wasn't much water flowing down it, but we took the opportunity to fill up the packs as best we could with water. Although I'd filled my water bladder up full when I left the car, I drank half of it coming up that steep pool, and in these conditions it's super important to keep well hydrated, and I knew that I would be needing a lot of water for later on and unsure how much water there'd be higher up, so I took the opportunity and filled up at this point, and before long we were heading towards the ridge. Whoa, look at that view. Fantastic. Right. So the good news is, well, it's certainly good news for me. I don't know what you think, Ray, but we've cracked the steep part. That was pretty brutal going up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is the worst bit until you get to the fence. It's really just relentless.
Aye.
And then after that, it kind of tapers off a bit.
Yeah.
It's still steep, but it's certainly a lot easier.
I don't know about you, so Ray had already made it up and it waited on me, but the lower reaches for me in the glen, there was no wind at all. At least here there's a wee breeze coming up from the lochs behind us. But yeah, glad to be up here. The next bit, we go up a bit more of a steepening, and then we're on the ridge proper, and from there on, it's still uphill, but it's nothing like that brutal ascent. So will we get cracked on and get a bit further up? So we'll report back in a wee while. Let's go. That's stunning. So we've just stopped. This is us at almost at the first peak of the ridge, which is fantastic. I don't know if you can see now. It's the top, the mountain's called Stob Binnein, and it's just coming out of the cloud now. That would make a good photograph actually. But the last time we were here, me and Ray were huddled together because we couldn't hear each other talk. It was that windy, and we were going to be camping where we're camping tonight, but we had to take shelter down in the glen. That was some night, up until about, I don't know, 8 or 9 o'clock. Was it Hogmanay? It was something like that. It was like the 30th of January or something,
just before,
or December. Anyway, it was pretty windy. Yeah, not got that problem today, thankfully, and we're going to be heading up here. Probably not quite to the summit. We'll leave that either for a wee hike at night or maybe first thing in the morning. But high on the ridge, there's a wee puddle or a wee loching. Not sure if there'll be much water in it now, Ray, right enough, but we'll soon find out.
I hope so. I hope so. We are running short.
Yeah, we had to stop and get some water further down. We filled up at a wee stream, which is usually full of water, and it was literally, well, it took me about 10 minutes to fill my wee bladder up, didn't it? So, yeah, we're just...
It's stunning. It's looking stunning.
Looks great.
I think it's going to be a good night and a tremendous morning.
Aye, let's not give it the kiss of death.
Okay.
Let's see. I just said that. Last time we were here with Ray, it was meant to be nice weather. To be fair, it did quieten down eventually and we had a great morning. But my God, see if there's any thunderstorms rolling. You're for it. Right. Anyway, we're going to get the backpacks on and head back up. This is just lovely. This minor top, as I mentioned, sort of marks the start of the ridge, and you don't have that sustained steepness that we had to put up with. We'd gained a lot of height and done a lot of hard work getting up to this point. And at this point, you gradually ascend up towards the summit of the hill, and as we did so, we started to enter the cloud as more of it started to form. And it was just lovely, and at times the sun was shining down, casting a shadow on the cloud below us, and giving us that lovely spectacle of the Brocken Spectre and the glories. Absolutely lovely when that happens. And we were getting kind of excited because before long we started to ascend up and out of that cloud, and there was a strong sense of excitement, shall we say, that we may well encounter inversion conditions, and maybe, if our luck was in, spend the night above the clouds, high in the mountain. With our Brocken Spectres following us along the ridge, we eventually made it. I'd love to say we soon made it, but we eventually made it because it was so warm. It had taken us ages to get up here. But we soon made it to that wee loching that I was talking about, and we had a wee look at this point to see if there was any lovely pictures round the side of the loching, but due to the insect numbers at this point, because it was sheltered just off the ridge, we decided to move on just a little bit further to a point on the landscape or on the mountain where there was a wee bit more of a breeze and there was still some lovely grassy ground. So we both found a spot to pitch our tents and set about getting the tents out and getting all our gear out and setting up for the evening and the night ahead. took longer than usual to get the tents up and our gear ready, and that was mainly due to the conditions being so beautiful. I couldn't take my eyes off the mountains and the clouds that were rolling about, and we were still uncertain whether the inversion was going to form, or the clouds were going to form below us, or just with us, because they were wisping around about us and occasionally lowering and then coming in again and engulfing us. But nonetheless, it was quite atmospheric, and the views were absolutely stunning. Right, that's we got the tent set up, fantastic, and Ray's just here, and he's got his tent up just behind me here, and it's a bit cloudier now, but this is actually really nice because the sun has been super hot. I mean, what did we say? 5 hours it's taken us.
5 hours, a lot of sitting and resting,
huffing and puffing, I think, as well. But to be honest with you, I think normally it'd be 2.5, 3 hours perhaps. Yeah. But just the sun. I mean, we do have the extra weight, but the heat of the day. I mean, that's not something that usually happens in Scotland. So anyway, it's misty. The clag's coming now, and I'm quite pleased that it is because it's warm. And we've just come down from the wee loching because the loching was really sheltered. Now usually we'd be saying that was quite nice, but it was mid-chill there next to the water, so we've come down a wee bit. There's a slight breeze, and every now and again, it's not too bad, but every now and again there's a few midge. But anyway, the tents are up, we've got everything set, we're going to go and make some tea. And then a wee dram. Yes. What have you got? You've got rum, haven't you?
I've got rum again.
Yeah, rum.
And I think you've got whiskey.
I've got whiskey. That takes me back to Glencoe, the Orb night. The Orb night. Had that.
Yeah, the Orb night.
Anyway, we'll probably report back once we've had a few drams. But anyway, tea time now. Yeah, let's go. Let's get some food. So with my tea cooking in its bag and things were really quite settled, there was a wee breeze keeping the beasties away, but no wind to talk about. It was just perfect conditions, and I set over to join Ray at his tent, and we sat there and had our well-deserved evening meal, which was lovely. And as we sat there, it was just, as I said before, it was just fantastic conditions, and we just watched that cloud coming over the Bealach and wisping around the landscape. Absolutely beautiful. After finishing our tea, we took the short walk back up to the smaller summit, which is called Stob Binnein, where the loching is, and the views from here we were really looking forward to, because you got the views back south as well, and a 360 panorama with Stob Binnein and Ben More hugging the highlights to the north. It was lovely. We've just come up to this wee summit to have a dram. As we said earlier, Ray's got his rum and I've got my whiskey, and I'll tell you what it is in just a minute. But look at this inversion, it's almost a perfect inversion. Just over there you just see Ben Vorlich and Stuka Coin sticking out, so it's really just the higher peaks at the moment. If I spin round, you'll be able to see behind me, look at that. You've got some of the Arrochar Alps, and over to Ben Louis, and then the Stob Binnein and Ben Moore behind me. Just stunning. Not bad, is it, Ray?
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
So yeah, to top it off, have a wee whiskey, and yeah, just enjoy it. Do some time lapse, which I'll stick up in a wee while, but we'll report back after a few drams. This is just absolutely amazing. Well, it doesn't get much better than this. It's just amazing. We're up at a small summit. You'll see in the camera, that's the Binnein. I think I've said that before. We'll maybe end up there in the morning. We're not far from the top. I think that'll take us maybe 20 minutes after we've had a few coffees in the morning. But at the moment, what I'm looking at is a sea of cloud with the bigger mountains just poking out the top, and we're just watching the sun go down. We're not sure if it's going to catch because it looks like it's quite hazy out to the northwest. But yeah, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of the best inversions I've seen, certainly one of the best inversions in a wild camp I've seen. And so glad that effort earlier on was worth it. What do you think, Ray? I think that was, we were moaning about earlier on, but...
Yeah, it's always hard going when you're heading to camp. But once you actually get up here and you get something like this, and it's always worthwhile.
Yeah.
Any camp's worthwhile, it just takes a bit of effort. But when you've got something like this, this is, yeah, just exceptional. It really is.
Yeah, beautiful. It feels almost otherworldly, as I said before. We could be anywhere. Could be in any mountainous range in the world with the clouds hiding everything. We don't know how big these peaks are. It's just magical. So I'm going to sit here and have a few whiskies, watch the sun go down, maybe do a bit of time lapse, and hope that the sky catches, because that would be the perfect ending to the perfect camp, and then we can wake in the morning to see what happens. Yeah, for sunrise.
If it's like this in the morning, it's going to be absolutely epic.
It will be, because hopefully these will all light up. Yeah. So yeah, we'll sit here. Oh, I never mentioned my whiskey. What have I got? Well, it's the same old favourite. It's a tomatin whiskey, which I've had the last few camps. I'm not really drinking much whiskey at home, so the only time they're getting drank is when I'm out here, but really enjoying it. And today's treat is, I've got them over there, some wasabi peas. So once they start getting eaten, this will be going down because they are hot. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now and enjoy my whiskey, and probably report back once the sunset has happened. Sunset happened, quite nice, bit of a pink sky, don't know if you will see that, but clouds lowered a wee bit, not much. There's a few other peaks starting to appear out the mist over in the Arakan Alps, so we'll see what happens in the morning when we wake up. But it's been lovely. I've still got a wee bit of whiskey left. You enjoying your rum, Ray?
Tremendous.
It's tremendous. And you know, it's not often you can sit on top of a Scottish mountain in your t-shirt without midges and freezing cold winds, but that's exactly what we've done. There's been no midges. There's a wee wind, but it's warm enough. It's quite warm. But look at this behind me. I don't know if you'll be able to make it out, but it's just the perfect inversion. So fingers crossed that it stays for the morning, and yeah, we're going to head back down to camp and hit the hay, set the alarms for about 4 o'clock in the morning. I think I want it, don't get me wrong, I want a good time. I'll take a picture as well and send it to you if you want. Maybe we'll take a picture with the iPhone with that actually, it's quite... Yeah. Right, we just steer out. So we headed back down to the tents where we didn't go straight to bed. It was just too nice not to stay up and watch the clouds roll around below us. It was fantastic, but you know what, it was getting late, so after spending another half an hour to an hour just chatting away and enjoying the inversion, we eventually decided that we better get a wee bit of kip before waking up early the next morning. It was time for bed. Well, good morning. What time are we at? Not 11:32, that's the altitude apparently. 4:39, and yeah, it's looking fine. The inversion's dropped a wee bit, which is allowing more of the peaks to stick out of the cloud. It's just yeah, looks like it's going to be a good sunrise. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I woke up about 10 minutes ago, sounding still like I woke up about 10 minutes ago. But really looking forward to this. It's fantastic. The hills you can see in the background, that's the Lors range, Mealnan Tarmacan actually, or the Tarmacan Ridge is just over there. I'll put an arrow down to it. That's where I was on my last wild camp, which is fantastic. So yeah, we're hoping the sun's going to come up over there somewhere and we're going to enjoy it. Whether we got the top for that, I'm not sure. I'll speak to Ray. Or we might just go up to the top that we were on last night for the sunset and then head up to the top. We'll see how we go on, but maybe time for some coffee and yeah, see what the view's like in the other direction. Right, let's do it. Oh. We decided to head back up the smaller peak, Stob Binnein, to enjoy the sunrise. The views from there were so good, and we knew it would take a bit longer to get up to the true summit, Stob Binnein, so we thought we'd leave that till after breakfast. So we daundered up to Stob Binnein, where we'd witnessed the sunset and just relaxed, waiting for the sun to rise on this magical morning. Well, this is just absolutely stunning. You've probably just seen some footage of the sunrise, and it's I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say it's fantastic, it's stunning, it's amazing, it's epic, but probably one of the best full inversions I've had. I thought I got lucky on Mealnan Tarmacan a few weeks, but this is just a few weeks ago. But this is just absolutely, this trumps it, I think, for sure. And the level of the clouds lowered a wee bit from last night, which we kind of expected, which has allowed more of the peaks to kind of peek through. It's like these shark fins, emerging out of the top of the clouds. Just absolutely amazing. So yeah, looking west now. So the sun's come up over, funnily enough, to the east, and it's starting to rise. And I think once it gets over the hills that we're on at the moment, Stob Binnein and Benmore, it'll start to illuminate these peaks one by one. So maybe try and get some photographs. But we've just been sitting on this sort of peak here, just taking snaps on my iPhone because I've been using the camera for time lapse. So I'll maybe put some of the pictures up just now, but it's just lovely, absolutely lovely. So yeah, go and take some more pictures, and then we'll be heading back to the tent, probably getting a bite to eat, and then we'll nip up to the Munro and taking the views from there before ambling down. But certainly in no rush today. This is just spectacular. Fantastic. Right, let's go and take some more pictures. What a glorious, glorious sunrise it had been. And we loitered for a long time up there, just taking it all in, but before long my stomach started to protest and it was time to head the short distance back down to camp to have some breakfast and some coffee before deciding on whether we were going to go up Stob Binnein or not. Right, just had some breakfast, feeling tickety-boo now, so me and Ray are now away to tackle Stob Binnein, which is this one here, so let's go and head to the 18th highest mountain in Scotland. Still rather nice. Whoa. Now we've made it up, and there's a summit there behind me, summit of Stob Binnein. It's just lovely. You get a slightly different perspective up here. You can see the hills over to the north that we couldn't see because this hill was blocking them, but we didn't camp up here. We were camped down on this ridge here because we wanted this hill here as the point of view, the composition is, so to speak. But up here it's just lovely as well. There's somebody camping up here as well, just enjoying this fantastic weather. But yeah, it's lovely. I've been up here before. In fact, I haven't talked about this. The last time I was with Ray, it was actually on this summit when we had that amazing, well, the morning was amazing, the night before was almost a nightmare. We just about got blown away. I'll put a link in the description below that trip. It's well worth watching because it's the windiest conditions I've ever experienced. But this was redemption. We got to the point we were hoping to camp at the last time. And look at this, it doesn't get much better, does it? So yeah, I'm going to shut up, maybe set some time lapses up, take some pictures before heading back down. Absolutely brilliant. It was still super early, but the heat of the sun was already starting to tell. And even on the summit of Stob Binnein, we were starting to sweat away. I'd taken my jacket with me, there was no need for that. So after taking some time lapses and some pictures, we headed back down to strike camp, do that ritual which I never look forward to, of taking the tent down and then heading down back towards the car. But it was still lovely. That inversion wasn't going anywhere, and I think it stayed around for most of the day. What a fabulous trip it's been. Right, that's us all packed away at last. And yeah, you probably, I think the last bit the camera I did was on the top of Stob Binnein, and we've taken a donder back down. It's only about 7:15 actually, so we're packing up. And the good thing about this walk is it's, apart from this wee rise we've got behind us, after that it's all downhill. But it's been a fantastic trip. It's been great being out with Ray. Go and check his channel out. It's absolutely brilliant. There's loads of wild camping videos on it, and there's also lots of gear reviews and things like that. So it's really worthwhile checking out. I'll put a link in the description below. It's called RS Outdoors. So go and look up Ray and check his channel out. So anyway, I think you're all ready to go, Ray. All set, I'm all set, so time to get this heavy backpack on again and back down to the car and drink about a gallon of water when I get there, so let's go. So all that was left now was to shoulder that big backpack and head back down, and once again we weren't rushing on our descent. The views are spectacular all the way back down. What a great trip this had been. Until the next time, Stay safe out there, guys, and I'll see you on the next adventure.